Hello and welcome to this video on publishing a website to your ASU myFiles space. First, what you want to do is take a look at this link, which will be in the comments, on subscribing to the personal web space hosting at ASU. So first you have to subscribe to that space. So you'll go to asu.edu/self-sub and you'll subscribe to this space, and it'll walk you through how to get to this web page. This is the default web page. It also tells you how to troubleshoot and then how to find what your URL is. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but your URL is the path to your website. It is not the path to your web server. So we'll talk about that in a second, but it is written here on how to get to that and what to do. The second article that I'll post in the comments is here, and this is if you want to connect your HTML editor to the ASU web space so you can just save and publish straight from your editor. This is a lot faster, and I would highly recommend doing this, especially at the stage where you may have used websites before and you may have posted to them, and so you might want to kind of do this a little bit faster. This is, again, how we would do it out in industry. So this is how to connect to this particular server. Your web host would tell you how to do all this. So there is explanation here on how to do that. So let's make sure you have those two things done first. The next thing you want to do is have your HTML and CSS and images and whatever else you have kind of ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and open my browser or my HTML editor. I do use Dreamweaver. Note that I use it in the developer mode. I'm looking only at the files that I'm working. I'm looking only at the code. So I'll go ahead and open a new HTML document, looking at HTML5 here. And it goes ahead and creates this. This is my doc type. This is the doc type information. And all my content is going to go here within the body. So I'll just go ahead and do a quick H1 with a hello world so that we can quickly do a demonstration. There's my content inside the body. Go ahead and give this page a title. Again, hello world. All right, so we have hello world written here. We do need to save it, so we'll go ahead and go to File, Save, and I'm just going to save this on my desktop as test for demonstration purposes. And then what I'm going to do is take a look at it in a real-time preview. So I want to just go ahead and pull up Firefox and have it give me an idea of what this might look like. So here I can see a preview in my browser. It just says hello world, which is perfect. So we'll go ahead and switch back to my document. Now what I want to do is style it. So we'll go ahead and add a new document, and this one will be CSS, and we'll create. Now this also comes up with a template. The CSS template is basically just saying the character set is UTF-8, which means we're going to use English characters. And then there's a little comment here that just says, hey, this is a CSS document. This is a great opportunity to say, you know, by whatever your name is. All right, so we're going to add some style. All I have is an H1 tag, so I can add some style to it, and I can change the font family to Gotham, sure. And then we'll go ahead and notice how here, because I'm using Dreamweaver, it's hooked to my Creative Cloud account, and I have several libraries full of color, so if I wanted to make sure that it matched with my brand, it could kind of add it in here. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and make it pound 990033, which is ASU Maroon. So now what I want to do is save this document. I can see that it's not saved because it's got that star there. So I'll say save, and I'll save it as my style, and I'm going to put it in the same folder as I did my HTML document. So now I have style and I have test, but they're not connected in any way. If I go back to my Firefox preview and refresh, I'm looking at the same thing. It didn't do anything. All right, so now I'm going to link those two together. So and here in the head tag, I'll go ahead and add a link tag. And then I'll add the attribute href, and then I'll look for that particular document there. There it is, style. So that was pulling up information from the same file, the same place, the same location where my HTML document is. All right, now I can go ahead and give it the type, which is text to CSS, and a rel tag, which is going to specify that it's this style sheet. And I'll go ahead and close that. Now, if I save and I go back into my browser, there you go. I have the font family I was looking for, as well as the color. So those two files are now linked, my test and my style, and I'll have to upload those both to my web server eventually. But let's go ahead and add an image to this. So we'll go ahead and add an image tag, and we'll look for the source of that image, and I'm going to go ahead and browse my desktop and find my headshot here. One is smaller than the others. I'm going to use this one here. And I've opened it here. So the source here is going into my computer. It's going into the folder called Go To Files, which is what I've named it. Then it's going into the folder Headshots and Bio. Then it's going into the image called Christina_Karaskia-2016-small.png. This is going to show up great right now on the local host. It won't show up at all on the web because I am referencing a file and folders that are on my computer. So I either need to replicate these folders exactly in this pathway exactly on the web server, or I need to change that to something else. So let me just show you what that is. First, we always need an alt attribute or an alt attribute when we're looking at files. So this will be headshot of Professor Karaskia. And I could go into more detail for the sake of this video. I'll go ahead and leave it like that, and I'll hit save. Go back to my browser, and there it is. Again, it looks great here because it's referencing my computer, and I'm on my computer, so it works out really well. But of course, that's not what I'm going to do. Eventually, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the same folder, the web folder, as these files. So what I'm going to do is just delete all of this. All right, and then I'm going to save. If I go back, it's not going to be there, but the alt attribute is. It's going to say, hey, I didn't find that folder, or I didn't find that image, but here's the alternative information. But we'll go ahead and leave it like that for a sec. All right, so now what we want to do is post these to the internet, right? We right now have them on our local drive. We're going to go ahead and replicate that. So what we want to do is now go over to log in to my ASU, and then what we'll do is add that to my files. So when you come to my ASU, you'll see this list of other links at the top. You want to view more. Click into myFiles, AFS, that's your AFS space. It'll double authenticate here. This is just in case you've been on a public machine and you're going to leave it open for people to destroy your website. All right, so this is actually your web server. You can store files here. And if you take a look at my folders, you can see that I have a whole bunch of folders, and one says www. When you've subscribed to your personal web hosting space, you're going to get this magic www folder. And that's where files are placed on the internet. All of these other file folders that I have in here are just storage space. They don't have any other, they're not going to the web whatsoever. Only this one is. So all the files you see here are just being stored in my space. They're not actually on the web. So if I click on www, this is the magic web folder. All of these files here are on my web server, are being viewed, can be viewed on the web. These are all the file folders in which I have in here. Now, a lot of people like to add a folder for their class. And if you want to do that, you can do that here. You'll go to create the folder, And I already have a GIT 337, but otherwise you would type GIT 337 and OK. Once you've done that, that folder would appear over here, which you can see it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click into that, 337. And you'll see that I have 2 files already in here. So I already have one called test, and then I have one that's some sort of knowledge graph. But that's fine. We're going to go ahead and put it in here. So we'll choose this upload file. We'll choose file. We'll navigate to where we kept our files that we just worked on, which is test and CSS, and then there was the image. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with test, and I'm going to open and say OK on the file upload. It takes a few seconds for this to happen. You'll see the screen just blinked, and now I can see that I've uploaded a file today. Then I want to go back into upload, and I want to choose that style, that CSS style, and I'll hit OK, and I'll wait a few seconds for that to pop up. There it is. So now I have both files on here, but I don't want to forget that image file. So I'll go back to choose, and I'll navigate to where I have it on my desktop. Go to files, headshot, and this one, I believe. And I'll go ahead and put that in this file. It's really smart to keep all the files you're going to use together in one folder or in a system. So if you have a website that you're going to put together, it's all in a folder. Maybe all the images are in the folder and that kind of thing. That keeps it all intact, so you have a complete mirror from your local machine to the web server on what files you have. All right, so I have my image, I have my style, and I have my test. And if I click on these, I am looking at the file itself. See, I just downloaded the file. So this is not how I get my URL. How I get my URL, again, is going back to that original file that says, how do I get to it? All of these web spaces start with this domain, www.public.asu.edu/tilde your ASU rights. So I can just copy that in, bring it into a new browser. I can delete ASU right and add my ASU right, which is CCARRA1. And then if I just click enter, it's going to take me to my index page, which is this glorious work that I did in 2001 that I keep just for nostalgia. But what I need to do now is, this is my domain, this is my directory, my main directory. I added that file, GIT 337. I added this folder. So I need to put that in there too. And if I add GIT 337 and then a / and I hit enter, because I have no index file, I'm going to get the index, the directory of what's in this folder. Right? And this is not what I want. I never want the public to kind of see this, but I don't have an index file. The browser knows to go to the index file, and because there isn't one here, it's just like, hey, take a look at the rest of my stuff. But I do want to see test.html. All right, so I can go ahead and click on that from here, my test.html, and notice it just added that file name here. I have first my domain, then I have the folder, and then I have the file name, and here it is, hello world, and there's my picture. All of these files are working together because they've all been referenced and they've all been added to this web space. All right, so that's how you upload your published web, or publish a website to ASU's myFiles, their public personal web hosting. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.